overview of the Nigerian poultry layer value chain. It's good for us to just discuss it, like I said, because we need to understand where we were, where we are now, and where we want to go. What is happening in our industry? What are the challenges that we face? And of course, how can we have improvement in our businesses? What are the solutions that can be brought in to help us to improve our efficiency? So for the next few minutes, I will be sharing this with you. Okay, first, let's look at the facts. As at this time, as at the time in the year right now, about 700,000 layer parents are placed in Nigeria. About 50 million commercial layers placed on farms, and we are expected to produce about 9 billion eggs in Nigeria this year. These are just facts for some of us who have no background knowledge of the industry. Another fact that I would like us to also know about Nigeria today is that Nigeria is still the #1 egg producer in Africa. We produce, like I said before, about 9 billion eggs every year. Per capita consumption of eggs, as at this time, is about 45 eggs per person per year. Unfortunately, these numbers, as beautiful as it looks, actually, we have a very low per capita consumption of eggs compared to countries like USA, Canada, Spain, Britain, France, and Japan. So you will see that there is a gap in our industry that we can still fill, that we need to fill. So very, very importantly, we need to understand that while we are the largest egg producer in Africa, our egg consumption is still very, very low. And there is opportunity to produce more for our industry as we go forward. Okay. Okay. Now, the poultry value chain. For the sake of understanding, like I said, some of us in this room have very few background knowledge about poultry because we are just planning to invest. So it's good for us to share the structure of our industry here. The Nigerian poultry layer value chain, end to end, starts from the grandparent operation. We don't have breeding companies in Nigeria. We have only grandparent operation companies where most of the industry players go to buy their parent stock. And from the grandparent stock farm, of course, everything moves to the parent stock farm, then to the hatchery. The grandparent stock farm, the breeding companies, the parent stock farm, and the layer farms, of course, it depends on feed from the feed milling sector to come into the system. Sometimes you see businesses that are fully integrated, integrating both grandparent, parent stock supply, hatchery, layers, everything together. But there are very, very few. You will see in the next slide the profile of the models of operations in Nigeria. But generally, you see a lot of players, just one company or two operating in this area, several companies in this working in this capacity, and of course, hundreds of thousands of layer farms depending on their scale, and of course, processing, distribution, and retailing. Good. Of course, there are challenges too. Right now, we all know the way it is in our business in the sector. COVID-19 and the attendant problems brought a lot of issues into our country. Raw material scarcity, high prices of raw materials, unavailability of raw materials. Of course, we have a power issue, which has been one of the limiting factors to mechanization of our poultry operations. Power is very, very expensive and not readily available. So sometimes we find out that most farms that want to integrate, they slow down simply because of the cost of power. Raw materials availability, I've mentioned that. Housing equipment, generally the equipment profile of our operations in Nigeria is not always standard. You find only very few players that are working with optimal standards with respect to equipment input in terms of automation or semi-automation. But most importantly, the knowledge gap is what I need to hammer on a little bit. I said it at the beginning of this seminar, knowledge is power. And with the right knowledge, because poultry is knowledge-based, with the right knowledge, you can improve the efficiency of your business. And you need to improve the efficiency of your business because the business is going to get more competitive. It is only those who know how to manage their business more efficiently that will be able to retain and be sustainable. So that is why it's quite important what we are discussing today for us to listen carefully, understand what are the challenges we face in our business, how can we use these solutions to improve the efficiency of our business and increase the profit of our business long term that will encourage sustainability of our operations. Okay, well, I was talking about the models of how poultry operations are positioned in Nigeria, starting from the rural backyard farms. Believe you me, this data is extracted from years of servicing these sectors. The backyard farms, we usually overlook them because they are not visible. They are in the rural communities mostly, some of them in small towns and villages, but they are small holds, starting from 1 bed to 1,000 beds. Lots of Nigerians operate within this model. Close to 35% is estimated to operate within this model to be able to supply protein to their families. Small operators with capacities from just over 1,000 to 49,000 is the next layer. About 30% of the operators in our business, they are in this, they work with this capacity. In Nigeria, if you have 10,000 birds, of course, you are assumed to be a big farm. But I did this for the purpose of categorization. It is not about trying to say your farm is big or small, regardless of where you fall within this. This is just for the purpose of understanding and categorization. Medium-sized farms, they fall within 50,000 to 99,999 capacity. And then the big ones, which are just about 5%, operating from 100,000 to about 1 million layers in Nigeria. And of course, the integrators are also there because we have some people who are both integrators and distributors. They have parent stock, they have hatcheries, they supply commercial day chicks to the market, but they also keep layers and produce eggs. They are in the minority. There are not so many companies doing it, but some of them are also operating with that model. Okay. Yes. Now back to why are we here today? Back to that, because I need us to understand. I keep hammering this because when the speaker starts, it is important for us to listen carefully to her. Knowledge. This is the third time I'm emphasizing it. Poultry is knowledge-based. You need to always look at what can I do better to improve the efficiency of my business. And when you have knowledge, you can improve. And that is why we are having this session. And what kind of knowledge are we likely to gather today? We are going to look at innovative solutions to layer egg handling and innovative solutions to parent stock egg handling. Okay. So the efficiency factor, I'm saying it again. As a farmer, as an investor, as an expatriate in the poultry sector, as a person who is positioned to add value in your business, are you actually positioned and prepared for what is coming? More and more, one of those things that we are going to see because of those challenges that I mentioned earlier is that it's going to get more difficult to run businesses. And those who want to make money, make good profit in this business, they have to position themselves by running their businesses more efficiently. I need you to think about this for a minute.
So much for giving me the opportunity to introduce our company as well as the products we represent all over the world. Nice to meet you all over there, taking the time for us. I really appreciate it. And it's nice to meet you all from this distance. So let's start with today's topic. Let's stop the cracks. In short, this means let's make more money with your eggs. Yes, there are many ways to transport eggs. These pictures show the reason for creating a safe system for the transport of eggs. There are many ways, as you probably know very well, but they're all with a certain risk involved. It's always nice to see pictures from all over the world. Let's first start with the development of this system. In 1999 and 2000, in Netherlands, the change took place from the egg transport on paper trays in metal roll containers into paper trays on wooden pallets. In this black-white picture, you can see the old-fashioned roll container. And the result was the stacks of paper, they could not hold the weight of all above standing stacks, with the results of many damaged eggs. And it was urged to find a better solution. And first the tray was developed because of the plastic being more flexible. The force on the eggs by movement of the pellet was captured by the trays. And in the next years, the wooden pellet was replaced by a plastic version. And to increase the possible number of eggs on the pellet, the so-called divider was developed after this. In the next sheet, I will show and explain to you the different parts of this system. And after 20 years, we can conclude that we have achieved a lot with this system. This year, we do celebrate the 20th anniversary, of course, and we can be proud. In this existence, we have sold over 250 million trays, sold to more than 60 countries in the world, and is daily used by more than 1,000 clients worldwide, offering the maximum egg protection they need. Over here you see a picture of how it looks in a packing center in Holland. Let's explain the system, the different parts. The picture at the right shows the three main elements. The pellet is the base. On top of this, 12 stacks of 6 trays are placed. The divider guarantees a stable base for the next level of another 12 stacks, and then you can make it up to 6 layers high. It really depends how the system is used. If it's used by hand, companies stop with 3 or 4 layers. This example shows a total of 10,800 eggs on one pellet. And when you go to 6, it's 12,960. So it's quite a lot of eggs you can transport. It's important to know that we have the 3 different types of trays in our assortment. On this picture, it's not really clear because the outside dimensions of the trays are all the same, 30 times 30 centimeters. It's the inside of the trays, the openings. I will show you a movie later where you can see the difference of the size of the holes for the eggs. So in short, the standard tray has, the holes in the standard trays are not that big, and the Jumbo 2.0 is really for the extra large egg, which has more space for the eggs, but you will show it in a video later. Beside the 3 elements, the basic elements, we have also developed in these 20 years some additional parts and other services which can be added and used. And the colors, people can choose their own colors, and there are some minimum runs involved, of course, but for own personalized equipment, it's always good to have your own color of the trays, pellets and dividers. And we also have inscriptions, which means the name is inscripted in the pellet and trays and dividers. It's a very small, in the same plastic, so it's not a print, but it's inscripted. It's a relief name or number. So this is a personalized part. We also have nice addresses for washing equipment. We do not sell that, but we can bring all clients in contact with the best possible washing solutions companies. Let's go then to the next one. Oh, I forget one important thing. It's the only system with an RFID chip integrated in the foot of the pellet. It's over here, nobody can see it, but all our pellets are delivered including this chip. This chip is used for digital tracking and tracing, and it's used more and more in our market. Also, we can provide the X-Cargo system with an additive. It's a special material which, after professional cleaning, this reduces the risk of contamination to a minimum. Let's show how to pack the X-Cargo system manually. This is the link to our movie, which you can also see some rubber plugs. We also use them, which avoids the trays from sliding. This is not standard in the pellets, but it can be chosen, and it can also be added later. I hope you can see this.
Yes.
Great. Important to say is that the pellet has to be totally straight on the floor, no bending. This is the plug I was talking about. This is my hand, by the way. And I use a hammer for the first time in my life. These plugs can be ordered extra, as I just explained. This is considered as the front side of the trays, and it's very important to put the trays at this side of the pellet. I've seen in Africa many times that the trays are used upside down, so it's also a good lesson maybe for some people. Here you can see the layers are not good. Over here you can see it should be straight lines, 6 high. After 6, you put on the divider, and then you could start with the extra layer. These points I am now pointing at are stopping the trays from sliding from the divider. Do not worry, I'm not making a pile here from 6 high. It's 5, and then on top. Oh, there I'm doing the wrong thing. Never seal it because of, you know, eggs have to breathe. This is an example of the protector. Avoids the trays from sliding, the upper part. When you break, the eggs can actually fall down. This is important. This is the difference between the different trays. You can see the openings are different very much. This is the biggest tray we have for the biggest eggs. You can never use these different trays together with each other because it avoids, well, it will cause a lot of trouble at the machines when you are mixing the trays with the different parts. Let's see not a manual, but the automated use of X-Cargo system. This is an example how a farmer to grader transport is organized. X-Cargo system is fully compatible with all modern equipment. Here you can see the eggs coming out from the farm, and then they are packed over there, put on trays, making stacks of 6 high, and put on a pallet. As you can see, this is all robotized. The same robot is taking the pallet, and then the stack of trays will be put on the pallet. This is at the farm. Also, the divider is put on top by the same robot. So there are no hands needed in this company. There are the hands taking the pallet and then to the truck that is missing in this movie, but now it arrives at the so-called packing center where they are going to unload, check, and sort and pack the eggs. So here's the unloader. Stack by stack. It's quite interesting to see. I always like it when I'm in a factory like that. And it's important to know that this stack is first washed and then returned to the farm where the eggs are collected again. Hygiene is an important topic, of course. So here you go. This is how they denest, unstack the trays and for further processing. It's also good to show you the automated use of X-Cargo system in the hatching industry. I have received a very nice movie from Peter Watch. You probably know him from Bankomatic. And this is good to see that the Princeton industry is fully compatible with ECS system. Let's see where it starts over here with music. It's a movie from China, I concluded. Over here it's visible. Truck arriving with hatching eggs. Cleaned at the entrance, unloaded. Large quantities, you can see. This is a total overview of the place. So this is packed by hand, unpacked by hand, put on the conveyor belt. And the empty trays are stacked and cleaned afterwards. So this is where the part of X-Cargo ends. The rest is the inspection, handling, and the further handling of the hatching eggs. Eggs put at the right place and then put on the setter trays for further hatching parts. I think this movie also speaks for itself. It's important to see how it's used in other countries as well. Let's go to the next slide. In this sheet, I would like to give you an example of the return of investment which can be expected when you compare the use of plastic trays with paper pulp trays. In this sheet, I show an example for calculating the advantages when it comes to the costs of the trays on the longer term. As a base, I use 10,000 eggs per day, meaning 333 trays are needed per day. And when eggs are collected once per week, the cost per week for pulp trays will be 280 euros. And when the trays are used only once, this means that in 4 weeks, the total cost for tray 1120. And when you compare that in this example to the plastic trays, which can be washed and reused, you already reach the return of investment after 4 weeks. Of course, this is a very simple example, and I think paper pulp trays in Nigeria are used more than once, but everybody can make its own calculation. Please note that this calculation is not based on this total escargot system, because then more details are needed to give you an accurate figure. But we learned from our clients that the average return on an investment based on the costs for the packaging only is 3 years. Of course, we will be happy to help you calculating this for your company. Because it's not that easy. There is more to take into account when you go for this plastic system. The following advantages are also to be considered when it comes to money. These advantages lead to less costs as well. First of all, the 3% less crack is a proven figure. A lot of our clients have even mentioned a higher percentage. Secondly, the more efficient way of transport will lead to lower transport costs. And last but not least, the lifespan of the trays is also long. Some of our clients still have stock from 15 years ago. That's very good for our reputation, but not for our turnover. But it's always good to have these figures as well. You have a very long-term system. And I forgot to mention that machines, when you work with machines and you have a more efficient way of working, there are less stops on the machines because the trays are all the same and you will not have any stops. So that's also saving you money. Therefore, I may dare to conclude it's the most sustainable world system available. Just show you some additional products which may also be interesting for your businesses. We have developed a 20 egg trays for really big eggs, suitable for duck, geese and turkey eggs. And there's also 30 by 30 tray with quail eggs. I'm not sure if that's available in your market. And we have a crate, you have probably seen that one as well. It is produced in our factory in Egypt. It reduces the packaging costs really substantially. It's 360 eggs per crate. This is already mentioned. I thought it would be nice to see it also, like the results which going to be built when you eat a lot of eggs. And I think when I look at the figures in Nigeria, maybe this helps in encouraging the children to eat more eggs. The nice thing is that you can have some free toy afterwards. This was it